Good morning, Boerne. Welcome to the Boerne Brew. This is Jeff Lynn. I'm the managing editor at the Boerne Star Newspaper here in town. We like to bring in people that we can chat with and have something interesting to tell us, interesting to say. You know how it goes. Today, it's all about art. I am the worst artist in the world. I have trouble with stickmen and coloring between lines. You know, that just doesn't happen. That's whenever I had art class in school, art kept me off the honor roll. So that was my formative years. I realized art was not my future. Today, we're going to talk to people who have made it their life. Cara Hines. Cara's coming in from MixHaus Gallery in Comfort. Thank you for coming in here.
Sure. Thanks, Jeff.
We've got some things coming up. I want to talk to you about your gallery, your artistic endeavors, and we'll start with what's going on this weekend, or today, actually. MixHaus Gallery has opened an exhibit. You want to tell us a little bit about Douglas Galloway, his return, a West Texas perspective.
Yes, okay.
Retrospective,
Retrospective, yeah. Our next exhibit is actually on the walls right now. Douglas Galloway is a San Antonio-based artist. He grew up in East Texas, in the swamplands, just on the border of Louisiana, and his dad from Sweetwater, Texas, they would take trips out to visit his dad's side of the family. And so the contrast from the swamplands and the trees and the green out to the big open sky and the red clay and the vastness of that area really gave him a broad sense of place is really what this show is about, and the memories that those have that stay with us our entire lives. Very like tiny sensory memories that we have can really impact us for the rest of our lives.
West Texas, Hudspeth County, El Paso, that region over there going through the mountains, that can really be an impressionistic
that's really West Texas. Yeah, way West Texas. Like 8 hours from Sweetwater. It's like a way out there. But there's that vastness that's sort of, once you're in the western half of Texas, is a big impact.
Right. And this opens today. Opening reception Saturday, 2 to 6. So, folks, if you have artistic leanings, or if you're like me, I marvel at people that can do things I can't. When I drive here from San Antonio and I see all those overpasses and the things they're building at I-10 and 1604, I'm like, how do they do that? How do they put all that concrete in the right place so it doesn't fall down? You know, well, that's architects. That's what they do. Engineers, that's their thing. Yeah. When I go to a gallery here in town or go to Comfort for the Art Fest, I'm amazed by people who can look at a field, look at a single tree in the field and copy that onto canvas or onto whatever their mode of expertise is. I can't do that. Yeah. I marvel at things I can't do.
Well, and what you'll find at MixHaus Gallery is a lot less of that and more abstract. You said you couldn't draw stick figures or color inside the lines. At MixHaus, we really encourage people to color outside the lines.
Right.
So it's like break the rules, push the boundaries of whatever medium it is. If there's ever a blue bonnet at a MixHaus Gallery, it's going to be abstracted.
Right.
So,
well, that even takes it further. The artistic mind, I saw the gentleman's. He has just like this one's brown. Yeah, it's the herd of cattle in the west kicking up clouds of dust you can't even see. Yeah, and when I looked at it first, I said, "This is brown." Yeah, but then I read the caption. I'm like, I can see that. Yeah. I can see what his vision was. Yes. So that even takes artistic ability, artistic impression a bit further. You know, it's more than just putting on canvas. It's taking that intellectual property and putting it on canvas for everybody to see.
Yeah, a lot of it is about conveying emotion and memory. It's very much not literal, which is where artists tend to, and creatives of all kinds, tend to operate. And I would contend that every human being has that capacity, but it's educated out of most of us. And the prevailing culture, Western culture or modern culture, tends not to, it tends to be a very literal sort of thing. So I would say that maybe MixHaus Gallery is allowing, art galleries often allow people who aren't even artists or may not even understand art. We love it when people come in who aren't used to art, and if they will take the time to sort of suspend their literal brains for a little bit, they often find something inside themselves that they didn't know was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking with Cara Hines from MixHaus Gallery out in Comfort. Tell us about you getting how long you've been there. Tell us about how MixHaus came together. Tell us about what exhibits just passed us by and what exhibits, including the return, a West Texas retrospective, are coming up for us.
Okay. So MixHaus Gallery has only been in existence as MixHaus since January of last year, 2024. So not quite 2 years. But we've been there as a gallery since 2019. We were originally called Studio Comfort Texas, so some people might recognize that. I started that with my former business partner, Jeanette McDougal, who a lot of your listeners may recognize because she's been a Boerne resident for many years. We taught a lot of classes. Jeanette is an art teacher, so we were an art gallery and an art instruction facility. After about 3 years, Jeanette was ready to move on. I wasn't. I stayed on, and at the same time, my husband and I and 2 other couples purchased Hotel Giles across the street from the gallery. And I knew that with that partnership with the hotel and the gallery right across the street, that I needed to sort of rebrand, refocus, really narrow it down to exactly what I wanted it to be. So no more art classes unless an occasional one makes sense with an exhibit, but we're really focusing on showcasing contemporary artwork made primarily by Texas artists, and with a real focus on mixed media and mixed discipline artists.
Do most of your mixed artists, like you mentioned, Douglas Galloway, his East Texas, West Texas venture, are most mixed media storytellers with their product, or is it I'm doing this and I come out with this?
I am drawn to art that has a narrative and a personal story that also connects with a universal human story. So it may be a personal narrative, but people, if they are open to it, can see something of themselves and their story in it.
Right.
So I would say, yes, most of my artists are very much working with some sort of narrative.
I used to live in Carlsbad, New Mexico, so when I saw the herd of cattle kicking up dust, and I looked at it and said, I know exactly what he means.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about the opening today, 2 to 6. If you've got nothing going on, folks, head out to Comfort to MixHaus.
Of course.
What's going to be waiting our guests?
So Douglas Galloway will be there to talk about his art. So you can, if you're curious, even if you haven't ever been to an art gallery before, or if you've never been to a contemporary art gallery, you can come and meet the artist and really get a sense of his process and the stories behind his work and why he makes it. You'll have a little nosh. We'll have a little bit of food and some beer and wine and non-alcoholic beverages. You'll meet other people who are artists and art lovers. It's a great way to, I don't know, it's something to get out there and do that's not the usual bar scene or a sports event or something.
One of the first art things I covered when I came here in June or July of 23 was the Comfort Art Fest. I went out that September, and I marvel at artists. So I would stand and talk to some of the artists, and I was trying to glean some thought process, but they were trying to make sales.
Yes.
It's like, move on, Jeff. Move on to the next one.
The nice thing about art receptions is the artist isn't being charged with selling the artwork. That's what the gallery is really supposed to do. Right. So the artist can really be there and be themselves and talk about the art, and the gallery takes on the burden. That's how we earn our keep, right? It's why else would an artist be with a gallery if we weren't going to take that burden off of their shoulders in some way?
How big is the gallery? I mean, do you have several exhibits? Is there one wall that says, this is Cara Hines?
No. We used to kind of do that, but the way it's set up now with MixHaus is Generally speaking, we have one exhibit going,
Okay.
and it's not a very big space, maybe 650 square feet, 700 square feet in the main part of the brick building. Lots of character in this little brick building built in 1907. And right next door to High's Cafe, so a lot of people know High's Cafe, and we're right next door. And then in the back couple of rooms, our office/workroom, we have a lot of art by different artists that we work with. So you can see a mixture of art back there. And then we also exhibit across the street throughout the public spaces of Hotel Giles. So in the lobby, the parlor, the breakfast room, and some of the suites, we put artwork. And Douglas made so much work for this show that we have enough to extend the exhibit across the street into the lobby of the hotel. So we really use that sort of as a flex space. It's nice to mention that we also exhibit artwork at Six Twists Sparkling Wine Tasting Room in Fredericksburg. Cool. So we have a selection of artists over there as well, and we're about to switch that out. We're really getting creative with how we operate with a small space.
Well, give us your location, that's the street that's next to the cafe. Give us your hours and the days and hours, and especially for this exhibit.
Yeah. So MixHaus Gallery, like a lot of galleries, has pretty limited open hours. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Friday and Saturday, we are open 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays we're open 12 to 4 p.m.
Okay.
But we're always available to meet by appointment. If you have a group coming for lunch at High's Cafe one day that we're not open and you'd like to see the gallery, you can get in touch with us a day ahead of time. And I live in town and I can usually meet. And we're located at 716 High Street in Comfort, Texas.
This exhibit runs from this weekend to like the end of October, correct?
Yeah.
Or towards the end of October.
It opened yesterday, Friday, September the 5th, and it will be up through October 26th. Douglas will be on hand and participating with the Comfort Art Festival. He'll be featured during that.
Oh, great.
He'll be there all day. That's September 20th.
Right, 2 weeks from now.
10 a.m. to 5 or 4 p.m. He's also doing an artist talk, which is always another great way to learn about art and artists. And that is October 18th.
Right. So I can go ask questions of that one.
Yes, you can ask questions and in front of people. And there's usually a really great dialogue.
Well, my wife and I, we live in Converse on the other side of the world here from San Antonio, and we did one of those art and alcohol things. I can't remember the name of it. It's one of those, you go have some wine and you paint, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's looked like what they're looking at except mine. And one woman said, that's a really abstract idea of what we were drawing. I said, it was totally by mistake.
You know what? You might actually be the only true artist in that room.
Yeah, that could have been. I could have said, well, you know, you're looking at upside down. I got to turn it over. So. My guest today, folks, is Cara Hines from MixHaus Gallery in Comfort. We've got an exhibit coming up from a San Antonio artist, Douglas Galloway, the Return West Texas Retrospective.
Yes.
Gentleman grew up in East Texas area. Father was from Sweetwater, right? You said earlier?
Sweetwater, Texas, over by Abilene.
And it's his remembrances and his telling a story. Most art tells a story. Whether you can tell when you look at it or not, that's for you to venture into the art world. I like the idea that you can have one scene like Joshua Tree, the one tree out in the middle of nowhere. And 7 artists are going to draw it 7 different ways. All artists have a different perspective of what they're looking at. That's what I marvel at. Art is above and beyond me, and that's why I enjoy looking at it. So, Cara, if you want to tell a little bit about the gallery, a little bit about yourself and your artist, how long have you been an artist since you were 5? Did you pick it up when you were 30? How long's Cara been putting art to art?
I was probably born an artist, actually. There's a story and actually a memory of mine out on my farm growing up with my grandmother, and she was passing by and I was drawing at the dinner table. I was 4 and she said, "Cara, are you going to be an artiste someday when you grow up?" I said indignantly, "Nana, I already am an artiste." And so I really identified as an artist young, but like so many people, that wasn't something that our culture really appreciates generally in the overarching conversation. And I don't know that it was necessary. It kind of gets educated out of us.
Right.
Like your example of being in a room where everybody's painting the same thing and yours is different, that kind of tends to be like, oh, that's wrong. So anyway, I sort of left it and I went into interior design and architecture because that's more practical. But I ended up not really loving it and being pretty unhappy. And I did that for 15 years. And then it was after the sudden violent death of my brother that in 2010, that I couldn't really process it any other way other than through art. And so art became a way for me to really, express something that was inexpressible through language or any other way. And that's what brought me back to art. So if there's a silver lining, I think there's always a silver lining. It's in that whole awful experience. It was that it really kind of put me back on the course that I should have probably been on anyway.
Well, what is it? A picture paints 1,000 words.
Yes.
I'm a wordsmith and I can't write 1,000-word story, but you can paint a picture.
Yes.
That tells a life story where I can't.
Yeah. So it was just really, and that was me just closing my eyes and with charcoal, just scribbling all of these emotions and like spitting on the page and ripping it up. And I was just angry, I was angry and I was hurt, and there was just really no other way. And then people would walk by and go, oh my God, that's amazing. People would have an emotional response to the scribbles that I was making. And it just became something bigger. And then eventually I'd like to share it with other people, and I'd like to connect other people with this experience that I had of feeling something more deeply than what language alone can do.
Well, Douglas's stuff goes up. Well, it's already on the wall, right?
Yeah, it went up yesterday. It opened to the public yesterday, and I would encourage anybody to come out and look at it. And again, we're open Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sundays, 12 to 4, but we're available by appointment other days.
People, whenever you get up Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, and you listen to the show, you're supposed to get a pad and a pencil or a pen or get your laptop or that little memo thing on your phone. It's the MixHaus Gallery. What's the phone number people can call if they can say, hey, I've got a group of 25 coming in for whatever. What can we come look at?
Yeah, they can call. Even if we're not there, I get the messages through email. So it's 830-995-3750. And also you can visit our website. It's www.mixhaus, that's MIXHAUS, gallery.com. And you can actually see Douglas's work from Douglas's exhibit on the website right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a hypothetical question for you. I'm bringing a group of 75 people to the gallery. Okay, I've called you and said, I want to see your work. I want you to put 5 pieces of art on the wall that Cara has been responsible for herself. What are 1 or 2 of the 5?
Well, you'd be out of luck because Cara has been so busy with the gallery the last couple of years, she hasn't made much new work. So I could probably do 2 pieces.
Do you have anything from when you were 4 years old that was on the refrigerator?
Oh, God, no, I wish. I was an abstract artist out of the gate, too. So, but no, I do have some things. I do a lot with wire and fabric and beeswax and plaster, and I joke and soils. I work with a lot of soils because I grew up in Northwest Texas, the Panhandle area. So this show of Douglas's is really near and dear to my heart.
Yeah,
every moment that he describes in his titles, I can relate to every single one of them, some of them with a tear in my eye. So, but I work with soils, and I mix a lot of. I use the word mix a lot because that's why MixHaus came to be named that. I work with a mixture of materials.
I cover a city council meeting. I cover a school board meeting. I interview somebody. I go to that. I go home or I go to work, and I enter into I wordsmith it into the system, and that's the way I have to work. Art can't or doesn't work that way. I mean, you don't say, okay, today's Saturday, it's now 11 o'clock, I'm going to sit down and produce a piece of art. Have you done things at midnight that moved you or woke you up and said, I got to put that into art?
Yeah, well, and I would say that there are a lot of artists who are Douglas would be one who is very disciplined, and he has a plan. He goes in the studio, he knows pretty much what he's doing that day. He might not know every stroke and exactly how the colors are going to come out, but he has a plan and he executes it. But for me, I would definitely say, and a lot of artists are like this, you don't know when the inspiration is going to strike, so you got to catch it. It's got to catch you working. So being in the studio regularly, which I can't say I'm doing right now, but when you're in the studio when I'm in the studio regularly and inspiration hits,
right,
I can then express it.
The Comfort Art Fest is Saturday, September 20th, 10 to 4, downtown.
Yes.
I think I'd like to go to every artist and say, tell me the best piece you've done at 3 a.m.
Well, I'm very much a night owl, so when I'm making art, it usually is start at 10 and go to bed at 3 or 4 o'clock when I can't stand up anymore.
Well, you talk about we're using wire and paper and fabric and soils and beeswax. When you're doing a piece, how long does it take? Does it take weeks? Does it take days? Does it take 16 minutes?
I have a cheeky answer for that.
Okay.
51 years.
Is that 51 years old, or is that since you were 4?
I'm 51 years old.
Okay.
It's a lifetime of experience that culminates in any given moment, your education. But that's kind of the smart aleck answer a little bit, although it's kind of true. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there are some pieces that happen in an hour, and then some pieces that you work on and then you put it away for a year and then you take it back out and you work on it again. There are some pieces that can take 5 years or 6 years, but you didn't work on it 6 years straight. So I don't know. I think most artists would say, I don't really know how to answer that.
Frank Lloyd Wright, his house was never finished.
Right. Yeah.
37, 47 years he kept doing.
Yes.
So I think an artist's works is never done.
Yes. And also, a lot of artists believe that the observer of the art is still changing it. So just because the artist says, all right, I'm hanging it on the wall and it's ready for sale, it's ready to be purchased, that art piece goes on and lives in someone's home or office or a public building, and it continues to have a new life with every person who lays eyes on it and engages with it in some way.
Folks, you're listening to Boerne Brew. My name is Jeff Fiynn. I'm the managing editor of the Boerne Star Newspaper. I've got Cara Hines here from MixHaus Gallery. This weekend is the opening for the Return, a West Texas retrospective, 2 to 6 p.m. today, 2 to 6. Mm-hmm. Get out to the gallery at address
716 High Street in Comfort, Texas, right next door to High's Cafe.
Right across the street from
Hotel Giles.
There we go. Comfort Art Fest is the 20th, and Mr. Galloway will be a featured artist there. Mm-hmm. If you want to venture out and visit all the lovely artists, there's probably 24 artists. Does that sound about right?
30 some odd, I think.
And they were everywhere. I couldn't spend enough time there. I shot my photos and then I went back and visited people.
Yep.
Saturday, October 18th, Mr. Galloway will be telling his story about his life through his painting through life.
Both actually, and specifically through this series. He really works in a series and does 1 or 2 series every year. And this series is The Return, a West Texas retrospective. Yeah.
We both stumbled over perspective and retrospective, so I don't feel so bad. Thank you for tuning in. It's not supposed to rain till Sunday, so hopefully you got moved out of here today. Enjoy yourselves. Get out to MixHaus Gallery. Go in and watch the exhibit. Again, opening reception Saturday, September 6th. That is today, 2 to 6 p.m. So if you've got something going on in the morning, go do it. Go to your kid's soccer game. Go to one of the farmers markets and then go enjoy a sandwich somewhere in the Boerne area. Then head on out to Comfort. Let's see what Comfort has to offer for you and what you can do for Comfort. Yeah. Listen, Cara, thank you for coming.
This was fun. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate
Folks, tune in next week, and Carrie Barboza will bring another sports perspective for us, and I'll be back the week after that with another interesting person from our area. This is Jeff Lynn. Lynn signing off from the Boerne Brew on Boerne Radio 103.9. Thanks much for attending. God bless.